Hey there, friends and enemies, JoPaWrites here again, and today I'm talking about probably the most fun character in the First Descendant beta, and that is Bunny. Her design is great, her abilities are fantastic, the way you use her is just so much fun, and I absolutely recommend you try to get her. She's the first character you unlock in the beta, which is awesome, and I think she's one that everybody should try out for themselves. And I wanted to give some tips and tricks on how to use her because I think a lot of people see her abilities and they're like, okay, this sounds cool, but they don't really use them to the best effect, which is what I wanted to go over in this video. So every character in the First Descendant has 3 usable abilities and 1 passive. We're going to start off with the passive here, Dynamo, a passive skill that charges electricity for every meter traveled. This means you're going to want to keep moving at all times with her. Slowing down, stopping is not what you want to do with this character at all. You don't want to use a scout rifle or sniper rifles with her. If you're using those types of weapons, you probably want to switch characters because you're just not getting the most out of Bunny's kit if you use her in that way. That's just something to keep in mind. I think a lot of people ignore the passives and the other abilities and don't really, they've not really leaned into them as much, whereas I feel like all the characters can feel really unique and really take advantage of their skill set if you're leaning into that passive as much as possible. Then we've got Electro Orb. Summons Electro Orb that attacks enemies within a radius, 12 meter radius, which is not bad, dealing damage and applying electrocution effect. This one is pretty solid. It's actually got a wider range than some of the initial abilities that you'll see with other characters, which I like. And it is fairly effective. This is one sometimes you're not really going to want to use your initial ability as much on other characters because they're just not as effective, whereas this one is actually really good. So applying the electrocution effect is solid as well, so make sure you're doing that from time to time. But here's where her kit gets to be a blast, and again, this is why she's so much fun. Runaway activates Joyride mode and enables the character to run 50% faster. Each meter covered recharges electricity. So basically, you are buffed by running. You want to just keep moving at all times. You want to really sprint around the enemies, do your damage, have weapons that you can just spray into them, or launchers, or beam rifles, all that kind of stuff. You want to make sure you're just dealing damage constantly while you're just sprinting. And so too often when I've seen people using this character as I've been in a team with them, or if I've seen gameplay, they're not moving around enough to get these buffs up and to really take advantage of her skill set. Then we've got Pulsar. This is perfect to combine with Runaway. She enters Pulsar mode, dealing damage for every 6.9 meters covered. Nice. Damage is dealt to conductors within a 9 meter radius. So basically, you want to activate your Runaway and then just use your Pulsar to sprint around dealing damage. So then you don't have to aim, you don't have to shoot, you can just do damage as you're running around. Obviously you want to use your guns as well, but you can just do damage just by running and sprinting around in an area. And you don't want to let the enemies come to you and then pop this, because you're not getting the maximum effect unless you are moving and moving at longer distances. So that's just something to keep in mind, and I think is one key piece to the puzzle when you're looking at the characters in the First Descendant, is that all of them are designed to take advantage of their skills and really find a niche playstyle. You want to find the sweet spot of, okay, I know you're going to be taking damage as you're running around, but if you're going really fast, you're not going to be taking too much damage. You don't have to build her like a tank character, because you should be dodging and avoiding a lot of the damage that you're seeing, and you're still doing damage, you're still spraying in with your weapons and all that kind of good stuff, but if you're not moving, you're not getting the full benefit of her kit unless you're using her last skill, Circuit Breaker. This is going to be your single target DPS damage, your boss enemies, your major enemies, all that kind of good stuff. Character attacks with Electric Beam. Think Chaos Reach, think Kamehameha from Dragon Ball Z, all that kind of stuff. That's what this is. Dealing damage, physical damage, and electricity damage, which is nice. And then damage increases with the time the skill used. So if you're just laying into an enemy, you're going to do more damage over time, which is awesome. And That's the only time you're going to be moving less than you would otherwise with Bunny. So overall, very excited to play her more often. I think she's, again, my top pick for the most fun character in the beta. Now we're gonna wait and see. I'm hopeful that once the full game releases, we'll have a lot of characters available, and there'll be a lot of variety, so everyone will have something to fit their playstyle. But overall, I'm very excited to check out more of her, and then more of the other characters that we have on the horizon. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of the First Descendant content from me going forward. I'm going to be covering the game a lot with some more beta gameplay, as well as covering the full game at launch once it does release next year. Most likely, we'll see if it still hits that target. But anyway, my name is JoPa. I hope you have a good one, and I will catch you all later.